All right.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, the exile of American-born Muslims. What am I going to talk about? I'll begin with a question. What is the largest group of Muslims in America? The largest group of Muslims in America? Well, of course, among the Muslims, what's the largest group? Well, let's see. Men? No, maybe not. Women? Immigrants? Converts? I don't know. Well, let's just try to calculate that, roughly. They say that in the United States there's somewhere between, some estimates are as low as 4 million Muslims, some are as many as 8. Let's take the median between those two. Let's take 6 for our hypothesis here. Let's say there are 6 million Muslims in America right now. I think it doesn't affect the calculations all that much. But let's say there are 6. Estimates are that there is approximately 1 million of those 6 Muslims, approximately 1 million of those are converts. Okay, so we'll take the 1 million or so converts and put them on the side temporarily. That leaves 5 million other Muslims. Okay? But wait a minute, for a second, let's take those 5 million and those million and put them back together. Look at that 6 million Muslim population. Most of those Muslims are family members. They come from Muslim families. The average Muslim family has at least 3 children. Muslims seem to like to have children, so maybe 4 or 5 would be a proper average. But let's say 3, just to make it conservative. So that says in a family of 5 Muslims, we have 3 that are children. 3 that are Americans born in this society to Muslim parents. That's 60% of those 6 million Muslims are Americans born of Muslim families in America. 60% of 6 million is 3.6 million. Toss back in 1 million converts, that's 4.6 million. 4.6 million out of 6 million is at least 75%. Somebody tell me where they are. Because I go from mosque to mosque to mosque around this country, to Islamic center to Islamic center to Islamic center, speaking to Muslim audiences, and I don't see them. They're unrepresented in almost every audience I see. Oh, you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 showing up at conferences like this, maybe even 10 or 15. But if you go to most Muslim communities about America and you go to their masjids, you go to their community meetings, you go to their community events, they're not there. In Lawrence, Kansas, we're said to have somewhere now, the estimates are between 500 and 1,000 American-born Muslims living in that community and the surrounding communities. Do you know how many show up to the Friday prayer, week in, week out, or the community meetings? 2. Myself and 1 other. Where is that 75%? The invisible 75% that we rarely see. Through the past 50 years, there's been a large-scale, steady flow of immigrants to America from Muslim countries, through the past 50 years. There were large-scale immigrations before that, but for the past 50 years, almost half a century, we've had a sustained, continuous influx of Muslims from throughout the world. And although they have created American Muslim institutions like MSA, ICNA, ISNA, AINA, or I think AMC, various other abbreviations, and etc., the religion has not really taken root in this country, even after half a century. Because in order to take root, it has to take root among the indigenous population, among the born population. We've been here half a century. When I entered this religion back in 1982, and I used to go to the mosque to pray, I would find that the composition of the mosque consisted basically of immigrant Muslims and visiting foreign students, and a handful or 2 of converts to Islam. In the 1990s, early 1990s, whenever I would go to a mosque anywhere in the country, I would find that the majority of that community would be immigrant Muslims, visiting foreign students, and 1 or 2 at most converts in that congregation. When I go to the mosque today, the situation is the same. In 50 years, you could have at least 3 generations of Muslims. Where's the second and the third? We're talking about taking the message of Islam to the world, winning the modern world to Islam. We're not even winning with our own children. So we have to start asking why. Now, we normally hear the usual excuses. The negative image of Islam in America. We could always blame it on the press. But let's face it, I mean, over the last 50 years or so, the press has become a little bit more balanced. Oh, you still have some demonization. I guess they talk a lot about the Taliban and the oppression of women there, according to the American media, the destruction of the Buddhas. But that kind of stuff doesn't really affect the outlook of our children. They could toss that off as prejudice, and they usually do. Osama bin Laden is public enemy number 1, according to the US government. The Soviet Union is no longer the enemy, so Osama bin Laden will have to substitute. But again, one person or the fame or disfame of one person is not going to drag our children away from the masjids, not from our communities. We have to really start thinking more serious about where have all our children gone, as the song used to say back in the 60s, where have all the children gone? Well, how can we find out? Well, we could start by asking them. But usually if we ask our children why they don't seem to have the same commitment to Islam, the same love of Islam, the same commitment to going to its institutions and participation, they're usually not going to elaborate on their reasons. Because they know that if they tell us that we will not like what they hear. I had interviewed young Muslim kids at the University of Kansas and at other universities that have no participation whatsoever in their communities. And they come to me and they tell me all the doubts they have about this religion, all the reasons why they're skeptical about it, all the problems they have with this religion. I said, did you ever talk to your parents about it? Most of them said, they always have the same story. I asked this question once, my father just belted me. Or I asked this question once, and my parents said, you're not a believer. Or I asked this one question, and they told me, if you keep on thinking like that, you're going to get out of this house. So they learned not to talk about it, just to keep it to themselves. There are some ways to tell if you actually go out and solicit their response. In the past several years, I've been getting hundreds of emails from American Muslim kids. I really can't answer them all. But I asked them for their reasons or whatever problems they might like to communicate to me that they have with this religion. And you'll be quite surprised at the depths of the questions and the problems that they have. Another method, aside from soliciting information from them, another method is just go to the websites and chat rooms that they go to the various Islamic websites and the various chat rooms, and see the discussions that take place there. And record that information. And start pouring through it and see what their problems and their issues are. It's quite revealing. So far I've collected several hundred pages of data on what our children are, and converts also, because they're part of the American Muslim sector of our society, charting what they have to say about our religion and what problems they have and why they're not participating and why they're drifting away from this religion. Because half of the people that email me begin with this remark: I either think or am no longer, I either think I am or no longer am a believer. I think I'm becoming an atheist. So where have all these children gone? Well, now this is not scientific because I'm soliciting this information. This is not an objective poll. But you could guess what some of the problems are, and they're rather obvious. One of the main problems they have is a clash. They see a clash between the culture that they grow up in, the surrounding culture, the culture that helps to shape their minds, and the culture, the religious subculture, that they're asked to be a part of. This issue of culture class, of separating culture from religion, of trying to separate essential Islam from interpretations of Islam, culturally based interpretations of Islam, is a central issue among that 75% of Muslims in America, that invisible 75%. And there are many cultural issues that they bring up. I don't have time to delineate them all, but of course you can imagine what's on the top of their list, the issue of the roles of men and women. No issue looms larger among that silent majority in our community, that invisible majority, than that. And the kids tell me that they have doubts about Islam because they see Islam as subjugating women. I don't want to debate the issue yet. I'm just trying to share with you some information. If you wanted to debate about Islam and women in Islam the other night, that was for the other night. Just trying to share some information and outline a very long chapter in my book, in my next book. They say that women are discouraged from attending congregational prayers. Some of them describe the mosque as a men's club, as a Young Men's Muslim Association, the YMMA, one lady wrote. They tell stories of how they were kicked and thrown out of the mosque because they wanted to attend the Friday prayer and not be shunted to some small, dingy, dark room in the back where a couple of other ladies are stranded, where they don't even get to see the speaker. And they have to sit in some closet somewhere listening to the Friday prayer. They tell me these kind of stories, how they fought bravely and maybe with a couple of other sisters and resolutely until they were practically almost bodily thrown out, or at least threatened that way. And so they stopped going. And their connection to the community ended right there. I remember when I was back in San Francisco, we had 4 young lady converts. They all converted around the same time. I have no idea why. It was almost a miracle. 4 students, female students, converting to the religion. They almost did it as a team. They needed to sort of support each other, to give each other courage, to give it a shot. They started attending the nightly prayer, the morning and the nightly prayers, because the Fajr prayer is pretty tough to get up to and get to the mosque for, but these students made it because they loved to hear the Quran recited. Well, several men in the masjid went berserk. What? Ladies in the mosque? One man got so irate that he threatened in front of the entire community with the ladies present that if any more women were to show up in the mosque, he was going to throw them out bodily. The ladies didn't want to be the center of controversy. They stopped coming to the mosque. 3 of those ladies aren't Muslims today.